I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle from New York City tonight. My angle in moments, but first. Now, whenever you find yourself looking around at all the destruction he has wrought, wondering, how could things get worse than they are under Biden? Well, be sure to remember that his number two is Kamala Harris. So tonight, she sat down with Dana Bash in a much ballyhooed first interview following the Dobbs decision at the court. But if you're expecting anything profound from the former lawyer and Senate Judiciary Committee member, you came to the wrong interview.
I was shocked. And, it's one thing when you know something's going to happen. It's another thing when it actually happens. And I just actually turned to CNN. And I couldn't believe it. I thought about it as, a parent. I thought about it as a godparent of teenagers. I thought of it as an aunt of preschool children.
And a woman yourself.
And a woman myself. And the daughter of a woman. And a granddaughter of a woman.
It's a lot of repeating. At least she can identify a woman now. And if that word salad didn't do it for you, she also shared a big concern of hers, that men won't be able to knock up girls and then force them into abortions.
First of all, if you are a parent of sons, do think about what this means for the life of your son and what that will mean in terms of the choices he will have.
What? But the most important news to come out of this interview came near the end. Now, tonight, the New York Times was out with a story headlined, "Biden irked by Democrats who won't take yes for an answer on 2024. The piece noting that the White House is trying to tamp down speculation about plans for him to seek re-election, while aides say President Biden is bristling at the persistent questions. And for better or worse, they trotted out Kamala to tamp down those rumors, too.
Have you talked to President Biden about re-election?
Joe Biden is running for re-election, and I will be his ticket mate.
Full stop.
Full stop. That's it.
Full stop. As if Republicans needed any more good news these days. You just got it. Joining me now is Charlie Hurt, Washington Times opinion editor, as well as Ben Domenech, a Spectator editor-at-large, as well as the host of Overturning Roe, out right now on Fox Nation. Now, both of you are Fox contributors. Charlie, let's start with you. Now, with Biden abroad, we are getting a sneak peek, right, at what the messaging from a Kamala-led administration looks like. It ain't pretty.
No, it really is not. And you're exactly right. Just when you think it can't get any worse. Here's somebody who had spent years on the Senate Judiciary Committee and, of course, has underperformed at every single step of the way. But this is what you get when you have a president who picks somebody based on the color of their skin and their gender and no other qualifications whatsoever. You wind up with this.
Ben, what about the comment about boys? How this is going to affect boys. Maybe I'm not getting what she meant, but it certainly sounded like boys are going to have to be more responsible now. I mean, it was odd.
The horror. They're going to have to actually take responsibility for their actions as opposed to being able to, pay a girl to go away and have an abortion. I mean, this is horrendous, and it's so disturbing, but it's also so typical. The thing I love about Kamala Harris is that she's too dumb to really hide any of the things that the left wants you to hide about the positions they actually have. She just throws it out there, and then she kind of cackles afterward. And in this case, this is another example of it. It's like, oh my gosh, you're going to have to tell your sons that they're going to have to be responsible if they go out and sleep with someone and have a baby, and they're not just going to be able to kill it and walk away. Isn't that horrible? And that's the sort of thing that she would bring to any kind of ticket in 2024 that she was the head of. The fact that she's, emphatic that she's going to be on this ticket in 2024, I'm sure it totally encourages all of those Democrats who are concerned about the moment. Don't worry, everybody. They've got this thing under control.
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg is watching that tonight going, I can go on my bike and I'm looking pretty good now on my commuter bike. All right, Charlie, there was something else we have to get to beyond Kamala, which was this kind of late-breaking exchange that came up around 6:30 or so tonight between Biden and Macron today at the G7, where they're discussing our reliance on the UAE and Biden's forthcoming trip to Saudi Arabia for oil. Watch.
With your advice, I took the commission to go and do this. So I got him, he told me two things. One, I'm at the maximum, what he claimed, and he told me this is my prepaid commitment. Second, he told me, according to us, the Saudis can increase a little bit, but 150 or a little bit more, and they don't have huge capacities at this stage, before 6 months' time.
Charlie, I guess Juan Klein, he has some competition here. What is this? I mean, is he briefing the President of the United States on the fact that the Middle East is basically at max capacity now? And Biden is like, wow, he seems to be really interested. It's like, someone's giving me information I can use. What of that?
Well, it's sort of hard to blame him. Obviously, Hunter Biden was not available to be giving him all of his expert advice on energy policy, so he's got to go somewhere for it. But honestly, and this is no different from the whole thing with Kamala Harris. This is Joe Biden's chickens coming home to roost. This is what you get. You have an administration that is completely out of its depth on energy policy. They've done everything they can. They've enacted war on energy independence in America. And this is what you wind up with. And you wind up with this horrifying spectacle, and Joe Biden returning to the Middle East with hat in hand, begging for oil to make life a little bit more livable in the United States.
Yeah, but Macron's basically saying, drill, baby, drill. I mean, that's basically what he's saying there. United States, you're going to have to produce some oil. Now, Ben, I want to play something from CNN's beloved philosopher, S.E. Cupp, about the future of the GOP. Watch.
It's hard to imagine the Republican Party surviving this. Between anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ, book banning, anti-democracy, I mean, add all of the regressive garbage, to this. I don't take that back. Add it all together, and I don't know who's left in the future generations to be drawn to this party.
Ben, now the AP reported that we've added, the GOP has added 1 million new voters. So not sure what she's quite talking about there, but we'll have a lot of people, right? Because we're not, I guess they're not going to have as many abortions, and I guess a lot of people think that's a good thing.
Laura, I've known Essie personally for more than a decade. I consider her a friend, and I like her a lot. I disagree with her fundamentally on this, and I think she's completely wrong. I think, in fact, the exchange that the GOP has made here in terms of moving more on the cultural side towards this rising number of Hispanic, immigrant, diverse group of voters who are, not just brought into the coalition of 2020, but I think in the Republican coalition going forward on these culture war issues, the very issues she cites, are a huge number, a much bigger number than the number of suburban wealthy women who were going to be, pro-abortion, shout your abortion kind of voters who were also going to be convinced to vote for Mitt Romney. I just don't think that that was a long-term proposition that would work in any way. I think that the autopsy that was done in 2012 was about a party that was dead. And this new coalition, this one that I think is far more passionate, that has a lot more going for it, and is about the American family above all things, is something that actually represents a long-term and very beneficial development for the country, a move away from the harsh economic perspective of the past, and one that actually meets families where they are and prioritizes the issues as they see them, as opposed to the way that the New York Times editorial board believes they ought to see them.
Right, and the GOP establishment will throw them in there as well. Charlie and Ben, so great to see you tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.